Louis Eboli aka The Mooch. Chicago mob operative born 1935, died September 23, 1987. Died of cancer at age 52. The son of New York godfather Tommy Eboli of the Genovese crime family. A native of New York and later a resident of Melrose Park, Eboli was among the first Chicago mobsters to move out to the upscale suburbs and open shop. He was related to the Chicago gangster Guido DiChiaro, who would eventually become a lieutenant to Sam Battaglia. DiChiaro, called the mystery man of the west suburbs in the press, took the fifth in 1962 when he was called in by the federal government to discuss Paul Ricca, who he was also related to. DiChiaro purchased a home for his daughter and son-in-law from Alex Ben Ponzio, Ricca's son-in-law. On November 16, 1963, Ricca and DiChiaro took a flight to Miami and were greeted at the airport by Tony Ricci. While leaving the airport, the trio was arrested by the Miami intelligence squad and were taken for questioning. In the late 1950s, DiChiaro and Eboli formed Man D Music, a jukebox distribution company, as well as B&M Appliances at 9762 Franklin Avenue in Franklin Park. That company was also a jukebox distributor. DiChiaro had been business partners with the notorious Joseph Gags Gagliano in the pinball machine business since at least the 1940s. When Paul Ricca retired in about 1957, DiChiaro lost his patronage and lower level hood started to move in on his very quiet but extremely successful operations. DiChiaro lost his exclusive and lucrative slot machine operating franchise. It was taken over by Mike the Brew Moreno, a brother-in-law of Charles Caliendo, former Melrose Park police chief. DiChiaro was pushed out in favor of Moreno on orders of Sam Giancana. In October of 1960, DiChiaro's son-in-law, Michael J. Ergo, was shot and killed when he came to DiChiaro's aid during an attempted kidnapping. Ergo was related to the DeGrazios. During the melee, DiChiaro was struck in the head with a pistol that left him with a gash that needed 36 stitches. The attack happened in front of his son-in-law's house at 7800 Cortlandt Avenue in Elmwood Park. The police speculated that the kidnapping attempt may have started when DiChiaro started moving his pinball operations into DuPage County, where Joe Baggy Pants Perotti was the recognized pinball king. Investigators from the state's attorney's office, sheriff's police, and the hoodlum surveillance detail of the Chicago police were seeking to learn if the killing resulted from an attempt to kidnap DiChiaro for ransom, an attempt to rob him of the large sums of cash he reputedly carried at all times. In 1973, Eboli and DiChiaro formed another vending distribution company, this one primarily used for cigarette machines, called All American Amusement Company. The FBI believed that they were also the money behind D. Gottlieb and Company in Northlake. According to FBI field reports, the two had big plans about expanding across the whole of Cook County by hiring, in Eboli's words, muscle from the west side. DiChiaro, who was born in Italy, died August 5, 1989, in Melrose Park, at the age of 83. Guido DiChiaro's wife was Big Sam Areola's sister and Eboli's mother was Anna Maria Areola. In 1961, Eboli was arrested with Big Sam Areola. The newspapers reported that Areola was Eboli's uncle. The two had taken baseball bats and beat two men who fixed an Areola pinball machine and made $72. Eboli's Oak Brook neighbor and confidant was boss Joseph Ferriola, although it was boss Tony Accardo who guided Eboli's career along. Eboli dabbled in loan sharking and collection of protection money from suburban vice dens. He also owned two lucrative vending and jukebox companies which, in the 1990s, were being run by his daughter and son-in-law. In 1983, at the Teamsters Union Pension Fund fraud trial, West Side boss Joe Lombardo is heard telling Eboli that owners of a massage parlors in the northwest suburbs had to pay their protection money, that if the owners didn't pay that Eboli would have to close them up, or as Lombardo said, he the owner will get flattened. We will flatten the joint. Eboli is heard agreeing and said that before Lombardo acted, he wanted time to get his vending and music machines out of the place. Eboli said, I don't want to blow them off. Let them open someplace else and then we still got them to pay protection. We are supposed to be giving them some kind of protection. According to informant Nick Calabrese, Eboli was present when the Spilotro brothers were killed. Eboli's father, Tommy Eboli, was shot down on a Brooklyn street in 1972 at the age of 62. Eboli was the boss of the Genovese family for 3 years, largely because Vito Genovese continued to run the group from his prison cell for 10 years between 1959 until his death in 1969. In early 1972, Eboli became involved in a $4 million drug deal in which he borrowed cash from boss Carlo Gambino. However, narcotics dealer Lou Cirillo was arrested with the drugs by police and sentenced to 25 years in prison, meaning Eboli couldn't repay the loan. Although Gambino was said to have ordered his execution because of his failure to pay the loan, it's also likely that he wanted his friend Frank Thierry to become boss. On July 16, 1972, Eboli was shot and killed as he left his girlfriend's apartment. When word of the shooting reached Lou Eboli, he vowed to go to New York and avenge his father's murder. However, Accardo, who saw the murder as a legitimate albeit harsh mob dealing, placed Eboli under house arrest.